Welcome back live from Los Angeles. We have Apryl Jones in the house, who's an incredible personality on TV. She's an entrepreneur, mother, and look at how gorgeous you look. How do you do with 2 kids? Look at you showing up today.
I don't know, because everybody always asks me, Apryl, how do you balance it? Like, how do you still look so good? You know, and I'm like, I don't know. Like,
I'm like that.
Well, no, I don't. Okay, don't get it twisted. Sometimes we definitely, all girls need a little concealer. Okay, so that is that. But yeah, I mean, I love taking care of myself as far as like, you know, still making sure that I'm healthy so that my children are healthy, if that makes sense. And so, going to the gym and just making sure that, I'm just keeping like that sane mind. And then all of the rest just kind of flows.
Self-care is so important.
It is.
Because so many times even I sacrifice it, and I don't have children, but I realize the only way to really take care of my community is if I take care of myself.
Yeah.
What is like the one thing non-negotiable in your life?
My peace.
Your peace.
Yeah, period. It's just, I feel like I've just gotten to a place in my life where all I really want is peace. And everything else outside of that naturally now just flows into my life. It's just peaceful now, like, because I want it and that's what I'm going for, and I want to attain that. It's just everything else is flowing.
So many people though watching are going to say, well, I saw you on VH1, you're on E, and how do you stay peaceful? There's lights, camera, action around you all the time.
I think because of that, it's just like, I mean, I feel like naturally I was built for that kind of life. I'm a very strong woman, like I've endured a lot growing up, but I just feel like, I don't know, it's just so important, especially after having kids and just going through the things that I've gone through in my life. I have to, like, it's just no exception. The peace has to be there,
Well,
like.
you can have a peace with a glass of Chardonnay.
Oh yeah, Apryl wine. That's what saves me.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Did you always have a vision that you were going to create your own wine company?
You know what? I've always loved wine. In college, I really fell in love with it, going to wineries and things like that. But then it was an amazing opportunity that was presented to me here in LA. Someone who owned a winery kind of came up and said, I want to kind of collaborate with you, brand pair kind of thing. And, when I went and I sat down with him, he fell in love with me, and it just happened from there. And I was like, you know what? Why did I ever think about creating a wine line before? Like, Apryl, you love wine. Why? But when it happened, I was like, this is just perfect for me. It just is me. Like, I'm a mother. I need it.
So when you look out there at your name on the internet, so there's gossiping, and I know that that's not what this show's about. This show is about kind of the inspiration and faith, quite frankly, sometimes, and everything else. So what would you say for the people out there that they want to, they want to know something that they've never heard before? Like, what is it that you do to keep your faith? What's your background? What do you?
Well, I've been raised in the church since I was a little girl. I wasn't raised by my mom or my dad. I was raised by my grandmother, and she had a really strong belief in God. And obviously, like, I have that, so that's like a big part of my life. Every day, just having faith and being good to people and like having compassion and understanding and all these things, like that's just who I naturally am. And everything on the outside is, to me, it's work. But my personal life, like, I have been able to maintain, keeping my personal life personal. I think that's really important. Even being involved in Los Angeles and in the entertainment industry, it's important to be able to have that balance, so you see what you see on the outside, but my life is really truly private, and it's my life. Like, I really hone in on that, and I think that's the balance that I've just maintained.
Amazing.
Yeah, and finding that, I don't know, like, I just, privacy is very important,
Has that been one of the toughest parts of your journey, or what would you say has been one of the biggest challenges for you?
Yeah, I would say that, and just having everybody, I mean, I was on a reality show, people kind of assuming that they know me from that, and it's really interesting once everything's edited, you're kind of like, you watch yourself and you're like, I mean, yeah, I was a nice person on there, and like, okay, but you didn't get to see really who Apryl really was, and now people after the show are starting to see who I am, like how much of a boss I am, how much of a hustler, how much of a lover, and how I care about people. But none of that was really shown on like the show that I was on. So it's really interesting.
Beyond being a personality and now being an entrepreneur, what have you learned about yourself in that? I mean, obviously you're a boss. You can handle it. Is there anything you've learned in particular?
Yeah, I mean, I just, so much about myself. I mean, I was on a show, and at the time I was in a relationship, I was pregnant, so it's all these things. And like now I'm a single mom of 2 kids, and I had to go through like a breakup publicly. And so all of these transitions just kind of leading me into where I'm at now, and kind of why I do what I do with my wine, which is this whole women empowerment movement, is because I, when I was going through a breakup and all this stuff, like, I was like, oh my God, there's so many other women who literally feel like this and they feel alone, have no one to speak to. So now that I have a platform, it's so important for me not to just have it, but to use it.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah. And then, yeah. And so then I'm like, well, I have a wine company. Like, okay, cool. I can go and I can like sell this anywhere. Like, okay, that's fine. But like, what am I going to do with this? And like, I prayed on it. And it was like, okay, well, why don't you break bread with other women, create this sisterhood, like go and speak to women, empower them, help them go through what you were going through. And like, that's kind of like where I'm at.
Who was that person for you?
Well, God first, and then, my mom and, my close supportive like friends. Yeah, like, oh my God, like here in California, I'm just so happy that I've built such a supportive team because I don't have family here. All of my family is like out of state. So I'm here by myself with my two babies, but like my support system here is incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
There was one thing that you wanted to share with like other women or even other men,
Yeah.
That are going through a tough time, and maybe they want to accomplish some of the things that you've accomplished. What would you tell them?
Just stay focused, Yeah, and like recenter yourself and find you again, because I think sometimes we just lose ourselves and we don't feel motivated and we don't feel like we can really get through like the tough times or wherever the rut that we're in, but you can. You just have to really see the larger side of things because there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And I didn't think that I could see it. Like when I was going when I was in a rut, I didn't think I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I was like, okay, you know what? Like I surrender, like whatever this is supposed to be, wherever my life is going, God just guide it. And I was like, I am not in control anymore. I'm just like, I'm over it. and then it was like once I said I'm over it, it was like, oh, Apryl, okay, this is where you're supposed to go. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Is that like Carrie Underwood, Jesus take the wheel?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that way all the time. I'm like, where is my GPS right now? Like, where am I going? What is this?
Yeah, but I'm not
Where's
in
the
control.
light? Yeah.
I'm not in control.
When you realize that, it's so much
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, I don't. I think about that a lot. I don't know how people get through life. I don't know how I got through life for so long.
Yeah.
Thinking that I was in control of anything.
Right.
Of anything. I
'Cause
mean,
we're
it's
not.
mind blowing. Yeah, you make plans one day and they're totally different the very next.
Yeah.
And, you want to feel in control, but you realize that you're just not at the end of the day,
Yeah.
right? But it's freeing and it's empowering.
It's liberating.
And the one
Yeah.
thing we can take control over is ourselves, right? Our self-care.
100%.
Put on the good shoes, drink the good wine,
and not
cry in
feeling
the
and not
shower.
feeling ashamed for being you.
Yeah.
That to me is like I am so comfortable right now. This is like the happiest I've ever been in my life. I'm so comfortable with being the woman that I am right now, as opposed to how I was. Like, I just feel like right now at 31 years old of living, I am like finding myself. I'm honing in on what's important in life. I'm finding a purpose, and I feel like, like we have to know what our purpose is here. And I feel like on this earth, and I feel like I'm just now finding that out. I'm like,
So
did it take 31 years of living to get to this point? Yeah.
Good thing it only took you 31 years because your purpose is huge.
Yeah,
Your
thank
mission
you.
is huge. Share
Thank
that
you.
with us. Like, where do you see yourself going?
Man, I don't know wherever God guides me, but I really want to help women. And, I love the men too. Don't get it wrong. But I'm all for women empowerment. I just want to help young kids, find themselves, because right now with the world that we live in, with social media and all these things that like the pressures, they're a lot. I think more than we even know. And when we were growing up, it wasn't like this.
We did not have a universal popularity contest.
Yeah, and like
Thank
the
God.
competition and just all of these things, like the perception of life, like these kids really have a lot of pressure. So for me, just telling people to be authentically yourself. It's okay. Like being weird is actually pretty cool.
So cool.
Yeah, it's so cool.
But are you weird? Because I don't think you're weird.
I'm weird. I like weird things. I don't know. I just feel like I'm like quirky and like I'm kind of corny. I don't know. But I'm okay with being that. Like I don't know.
You're owning it.
Yeah, I love every little piece of me.
How would you describe yourself at 31, after all you've been through? Like, who is Apryl Jones right now?
Crazy, liberated, free.
That's sexy.
Sassy, feisty, a wino, a woman in need of sanity all the time. I don't know, happy, motivating.
Oh my God, the emojis are like flying
Yeah.
right now.
So you talked earlier about breaking bread with women, and I love that because I think
Thank
that we
you.
need to get together more. Like,
Yeah.
it's easy on social media to think that we're really connecting with people, and we're really not.
Right.
So what does that look like? Are you creating events? How's
Yes.
this?
So weekly, I put these flyers out on my Instagram or social media. And for example, we've done like a wine and dine where I had Shoe Dazzle and Fab Kids kind of come in, surprise these women. They were kind of like hiding in a room. This restaurant basically, you know, served these women food. We kind of, you know, talked about life, why it was important, why they were there. And then towards the end, they got gifted with stuff for their children and stuff for themselves to feel beautiful and to feel sexy as mothers, you know, have a break, have a moment to be around other women and kind of just share their story, you know? So that's like one. We've done, you know, sexy dance classes, whether that's like a burlesque for women who don't feel sexy, you know, with their bodies or like have low self-esteem. We've done writer workshops where it's like writing letters to God and sharing that and, you know, just like ultimate healing, like finding that. Because I think sometimes it's really easy, which is weird, to talk to strangers than it is to go to like a friend and have that judgment there, you know, so the people know when they come to these events, there's no judgment. You get to be yourself. You get to have that almost like that therapy. For me, these women are my therapist. I love it. Like, I feel like every time when I have an event, it actually is helping me. And sometimes it humbles me because I'm like, wow, like here I am complaining about my life and you're like going through what you're going through. And I have nothing to say. Like, wow, I'm humbled. Like, let me sit back and stop complaining, you know?
Totally.
So it's awesome.
I'm coming for therapy.
Come for therapy and come for a glass of wine.
And the shoes,
perfect.
please.
For
I'm
sure.
sure.
I was gonna say, I know it's for women, but I'd be there in a second.
Look, I did a Father's Day edition for fathers, you know, and let them have massages with wine. You know, I treat them in. You're just not as important as the women.
Fair enough.
Still important.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
We love the men.
Yes.
We love you guys.
They got the long end of the stick for a long time.
Yes,
It's time.
yes,
And then
yes.
tell us a little bit about your relationship with Shoe Dazzle.
So my relationship with Shoe Dazzle, well, honestly, it's so funny how life turns because when I was growing up, Kim Kardashian was like a brand ambassador for Shoe Dazzle. And I just remember signing up and being like, oh my God, I'm a college student. I don't have enough money to like go and like buy, you know, all these expensive shoes. So 3 pairs of shoes for like $32 is like, oh my God, it's life. So I'm still a member, which is so funny because I still get my emails and I'm like, oh my God, I did not sign up for this. Like, did I not end or cancel this? So I'm still a member. So funny, they actually came to me based on, you know, what I'm doing with the whole women empowerment and everybody kind of like just falling in love with the movement. And they're like, we want to be a part of this. So they asked me to come on as a brand ambassador as well, have my own shoe collection. And which is so funny because now people are buying my shoes.
That's fire.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Yeah. Did you imagine you would have your own shoe collection?
No,
Yeah.
and I love it. Like, you know, I actually go to the headquarters. I actually try on these shoes, and I'm like, I'm not putting a pair of shoes on any woman that I wouldn't wear. So I literally would sit there and be like, okay, would you buy these? Yes or no? Would you say these are sexy? Would you ask me about these shoes? If they say no, I don't want to part of my collection.
You know you've made it when you have your own shoe line.
Oh, yeah.
You're
I know,
like,
Michael
okay,
Jordan.
you know.
Yeah, and
Steph
it's
Curry.
inexpensive.
Yeah.
It's inexpensive to feel sexy, you know?
Absolutely.
And I don't mind rocking a pair of like cheap shoes.
Yeah.
Right.
So how can people find you?
So you can find me at Apryl, APRYLS Jones on Instagram, Snapchat. It's the same on everything, all my social media, Twitter and all that. Yeah.
And your wines.
And my link for my Shoe Dazzle and all of that stuff is under my Instagram.
Oh, check
all
it
the links.
out.
Yeah, and aprylwines.com,
Well,
guys.
sign us
Branding
up.
champ.
I could use a glass of
You know what?
wine.
I should have brought you guys a bottle. Why didn't I think of that?
Well, now you know
I'll
where
send
we're
you guys
at.
next
Focus
time.
TV at West Hollywood. So you're welcome back anytime. We'll
yes.
have a good sisterhood conversation over
We will.
wine.
We have
Please.
plenty of addictions here, so we'll love to
Okay,
have
me
more.
too. Me too.
We'll do
Thank you.
a special podcast at night with some wine. and
Yes,
chat-
please,
chat
please
about
have
it.
me back.
After hours with Apryl Jones.
Yep.
right.
Oh,
Yep.
thank you so much for
Thank
being
you guys
here
for having
today.
me. I appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
We'll
Thank
be
you.
right back with more on Good Morning La La Land.